with Joe Agostino at the Asteri Wine Bar. And Joe, how long have you been in the restaurant business?
I've been cooking in restaurants for 14 years now.
Cool. And what do you primarily do? Like, what kind of stuff are you cooking most days?
I would say my style focused a lot more on Mediterranean food.
Right. So tell me a little bit about sous vide cooking in general. Like, what's it about?
Sous vide cooking is a technique that we use in the restaurants to cook meats, vegetables, fruits, even custards to perfect doneness, desired doneness.
Okay. So how does it differ from braising, boiling, steaming, all the other kinds of ways you could deal with meat and vegetables?
You're kind of taking out the human error aspect. You're setting the water bath to the exact temperature that you want something to cook at, taking a long, slow time to get it done and make sure the results are exactly intended. So I'm just going to take the raw meat here and put it in the polyethylene bag.
So this is food safe, right?
This is definitely food safe.
So you couldn't like go to a dollar store and get some cheap plastic bags?
No, any of the sturdier, like heavy-duty bags will be perfectly food safe. You just want to stay away from the cheap saran wraps. Even Ziploc bags are fine.
Right.
But the heavy-duty stuff is all polyethylene, and nothing will leach out. So we're just going into the chamber here. Just going to make sure my bag's evenly set up.
So this is a vacuum chamber that's going to suck the air out around the bag.
We're going to suck all the air out of the bag. So and vacuum seal it. So when it goes into the water, none of the water goes in.
Right.
None of the flavor comes out, or the aroma escapes the bag.
Right.
So that's it. That's our steak. Unseasoned, nothing else in there, just the meat, and we're just going to get it down into the circulator.
Okay, great. So the bath's down to the right temperature, Joe?
Yeah, the bath's down to 56 degrees Celsius now, our desired temperature. The strip loin steak's all vac packed. We're just going to go down into the bath. It's basically the only thing you have to do. It's going to get submerged. We just want to make sure that the water is fully circulating all the way around it.
And how long is it going to be in there for?
We're going to leave this one in here because of the thickness. It's just about an inch thick for an hour and a half. Okay. And yeah, we're going to pull it out and it's going to look great.
And it's at 56.3, right?
Yeah, it's going to come right down to 56. The computer will hold the water at 56 degrees Celsius perfectly, and the water circulates all the way around, so the meat cooks evenly on all sides.
So where did this come from? Where did the technique come from?
Keeping the all the flavors inside and the air out of it is not something new, but with the specific sort of sous vide technique now, which means under vacuum, probably got developed around in the 1970s, and it was really used for sort of large commercial things to start. For an airlines, for example, have to cook thousands of chicken breasts for meals on a plane. Took out the human error, made sure everything was very even all the time. Probably wasn't until that decade later that a chef in France brought that technique to a seminar and started training French chefs how to use this under vacuum as it translates to. And then I'd say in the past 15 years, it's really moved its way into the fine dining.
So Joe, it's been an hour and a half, so this baby's ready?
Yeah, I've been going at an hour and a half for 56 degrees. You can see the steak still submerged under the water. You can tell that some of the meat started to cook all the way through here.
Right.
So just to make sure we're food safe, and we're going to stop the cooking process and take it out and take it back down through the danger zone very quickly. Submerge it in the water for about 10 minutes, and we'll be ready to cook. So this is a bavette steak. It's a little different than the strip loin, but it's been cooked in exactly the same way at 56 degrees for an hour and a half. So this is prepared. We're gonna pull it out of the bag. It's been shocked. It's cold. It's been in the ice bath. We're gonna pull it out of the bag. We're gonna give it a little dry. We're gonna season it, and then we're gonna sear it in the pan, and we're gonna slice it, and we're gonna taste it.
So this is nice and pink on the outside. Is that going to be the same color all the way through?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be the same color all the way through. So a bit of blood there has escaped just because the proteins have pushed some of the water out. So we're going to give it a quick dry. Okay, we're going to take our steak to the pan now.
So we're really just searing that now.
We're just searing, getting that sort of traditional brown color on the outside of it.
Right.
And by searing the meat, the naturally occurring sugars are going to caramelize, give it a bit of sweetness, and also give it that nice texture that people expect from the crispy outside of steak to contrast the soft inside of the steak.
So this is really a different way of completely of cooking the steak, right?
Yeah, exactly. But you want to give the impression to the guest or to the if we eat this right now, it's not going to be tasty. But you want to give the impression to the guest that it's been cooked sort of in the traditional method and what you expect when you eat a steak, with a crispy caramelized outside, the browning, and the contrast in texture.
And how much time are you going to give to each side here?
Well, we're going to give it about a minute on both sides. Then we're just going to give it a little baste to make sure that the heat has went all the way through, and then it's ready to slice. It's really all the time that it takes. If I leave this in the pan too long, we're going to go from the desired medium rare up to medium or medium well. So if one of your guests wants a steak cooked higher, this is just a fact of just cooking it a bit longer.
Right. So does that, if somebody said, I really want my steak well done, does that sort of kill the usefulness of sous vide?
100%. There'd be no real use to doing that either way. You're taking it to well done, pushed all the water out of it,
right?
And all the nice fat out of it as well. So now,
that's beautiful.
when you turn it, it looks really great. You can see that it's getting that crispy, sort of traditional crust on the outside that people expect when they order a steak anywhere. So again, when we flip it over here on this side, we just want to let it go for another minute or so and make sure that the heat is transferring through. Because remember, the inside of this meat has been in ice water. So we really got to bring the temperature all the way through. A little bit of butter, because it makes everything taste good.
So if you've got a really marbleized cut, would you still add butter there?
I always add butter to everything. It makes it really glossy on the outside. Now this is going to spark a little bit up when I throw it in. A little bit of fresh rosemary. So now we're adding some aromatics to the fat to make the fat taste, the butter taste like the rosemary and the thyme. Just gonna give it a little baste. Get all the herbs right in there.
Oh, that looks great. Smells great too. So what's happening to the internal temperature now? You said it was cold before, so now what's it up to in there?
Well, the idea, especially right now with the gentle butter basting, is that I'm gently moving the heat to the center so it's going to be warm all the way through. It's never going to be hot. If your steak's hot in the center, then it's going to be medium well or well done, right? But it's going to be warm throughout. And just adding this great little layer of crispy butter and herby flavor on the outside.
Now you said this was a gentle butter basting. What's an aggressive butter basting?
No, well, it's more gentle than using hot canola oil or going to a deep fryer or something. You can see the butter's all brown. It's really nice. So I think we're there. So bavette's been sous vide and roasted and picked up and basted with some butter. So now we're just going to slice into it and see what the inside's going to look like. So you can see the striations of the meat are going this way, the grains. We want to slice against those.
And why is that?
It's a mechanical tenderization, so it's going to be as tender as possible going this way.
So that looks like a rare steak or a medium rare, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly what we're looking for. So nice and thin, so it's really tender. You can see what's going on in there.
Oh, yeah.
And you also notice that as I'm slicing, you're not losing a lot of juices on the board. It's not bleeding out very much, which is good, because it hasn't been under sort of too hot of temperatures and very stressed. So
now, would this taste different than a medium rare steak or a rare steak?
Nope, shouldn't at all. It would be a little more. Well, yeah, it should be more juicy. We can just give it a little fan out. How nice does that look?
Yeah, it looks great. So can we take a look at just one of these slices a little bit there? Yeah, so that's nice. Nice.
You can open it right up.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And then, just with the little bay leaves and the rosemary that we cooked it with.
Right. So Joe, you can also do vegetables in the sous vide cooker, right?
Yeah, we're gonna do all sorts of vegetables today. I've selected some little beautiful breakfast radishes. Also have some baby beets, some red baby beets, and some golden baby beets, and the three colors together. We're gonna glaze them with a bit of butter and a bit of stock at the end, and it's gonna look great.
So now you're vacuum sealing these babies?
Yeah, we're gonna vacuum seal the three different vegetables all separately, so as not to bleed the color and keep all the nice color separate in each one. As you can see, some of these radishes are a little smaller than the larger chunks of beets, so we're gonna check it as it cooks and may have to pull out you know, 10 minutes earlier than the beets, but it should all be fairly close.
So again, in a restaurant, you would do this the same as you would do the meat, right? That you would
we'd
prepare these ahead of time.
Do these ahead of time and have them ready in containers at the cook's fingertips, and then we reheat them in whatever design we've came up with. So maybe some butter and some water, or in a hot pan, roasted till they're golden.
Right.
But yeah, they're ready to go. It's faster on the line this way.
Right.
And you'll see once we cook it, we're really going to preserve a lot of the color.
Wow.
So yeah, they're looking great already.
Oh,
The
yeah.
thing about the sous videing with and adding aromatics is that once you've taken all the air out, it's very, very strong. Like none of the aroma escapes. It's all going to be within the bag. So it gets very, very strong. So you have to be very careful with it. I'm not against doing it. Just in this instance, we're gonna put it in the pan when we pick it up. We have our beets, red, golden, and our English radishes all backpacked and ready to go. We're gonna go into the circulator here.
Now this is way hotter, right?
Circulator's a lot hotter for this one, 85 degrees. This would take a steak well beyond well done. The reason for that is we need to break down all the cellulose in the vegetables and make them tender.
So it surprises me that the water has to be hotter for vegetables than for meat.
Yeah, just because these are root vegetables and they're really high in cellulose, and it's something tough that we need to break down. If you're cooking like a green vegetable in here, which I wouldn't suggest, you cook it much lower than that. So we're going down with the 3. We're gonna let these go for 45 minutes or so. Okay, so we have our beets and our radishes that have been in the backpack bags and cooking for an hour now.
So we've got a real pink color.
Yeah, you can see that the pigment from the radish has been preserved in the bag and has moved through the flesh. So it's gonna be pink all the way through. Once we open it up and get in some butter, it's gonna be even more vibrant. Okay. So we're gonna pull the radishes out and go into our ice bath. It's the same process as with the meat, but just to stop the cooking process and also to retain the color.
Now there's not an issue with food safety with the water bath with the vegetables.
I wouldn't say so with this. It's just more about the preservation of the color. So they're really bright red beets. You can see they're getting quite soft and they're ready to be picked up in a warm buttery pan.
Looks like a blood transfusion.
Yeah, exactly. And now our golden ones that we started with, which are looking also
beautiful.
Beautiful.
So they've brightened up a little bit from being raw.
Yeah,
right?
they do. They get more vibrant, and more vibrant than I think from roasting or traditional sort of boiling techniques.
Right.
So it's a nice technique. So I'm just going to give them a second to hang out in that water, and then we're going to get the bags open. Opening these guys up. You can see how great they look.
The juice looks great, eh? Look at that color. That's fabulous.
So in the restaurant, after we take these all out, we just put them into containers in our fridges, and then when the guests ordered, we'd be ready to get them into hot buttery pans. Today we're just going to go straight from the backpack bags into the pan.
So again, it's just saving you just a ton of time.
It's saving us time. Sorry, Wayne. Saving us time. And everything's cooked perfectly even. You can notice that everything's cooked uniformly.
Right. So for somebody at home, this like if you've got guests coming over, rather than spending your time in the kitchen, you can actually hang out with them. And
yeah, you can do this ahead of time and have it waiting in your fridge, and then you're just warming them up. So you're going from taking about 45 minutes to an hour to cook the beets, and maybe 20 minutes for the radishes, to well, you'll see now, but maybe 2 minutes to pick it up. I'm gonna add a bit of veg stock too to it. I'm making a bit of a glaze. It's gonna reduce down. Now all these guys are going down. Our psychedelic vegetables. The red. Now a little of this is gonna bleed together now. But that's okay, it's gonna look great.
That looks great, look at that. Wow. So those radishes have gone completely pink.
Yeah, and you see the beets are staining the rest of the liquid. Just gonna add again, just some herbs. So we got a little bay leaf and some thyme. Let that come down.
Now you're using fresh bay leaf there, you're not using...
Yeah, it's fresh bay leaf or laurel. It just has a more subtle flavor, and it's a more fresh flavor, I find, than the dry bay leaves, which I'm not too much of a fan of personally. Just come down. Just again, going to give it a little bit of fresh cracked pepper. You can see that glaze is coating them all over now. And just a little bit of salt here.
Well, it's interesting how quick it reduced, eh?
A little bit of sea salt. One more touch. Some water. This would be glazed root vegetables.
Oh, it smells fabulous.
Ready to go to the plate.
So you'd serve these in combination?
Yeah, you can serve it with meats or fish and look really bright, or, you know, it's really beautiful kind of on its own here as a side dish of sous vide glazed vegetables with a little herb butter.
So do you see this as something that is becoming a growing trend in restaurants, or a passing fad, or just something that's just part of tools of the trade?
No, I think it's only growing, and I don't think it's a trend at all. It's not something that I think that restaurants even promote that they do. It's just the way that we cook things now.
So what advice would you give to anybody starting out at home if they got themselves a sous vide cooker or regulator?
Oh, just play around, get a book and read, or go online. The book that I'd really that I used a lot to learn about this was Under Pressure by Thomas Keller. I've been through that a few times. It's really informative. He was kind of, I'd say, the pioneer in the 2000s of using this technique, and I really like the results you can get.
Right. And people can do it at home, right?
Yeah, definitely you can do it at home. If you're, in a rush, and like everyone is these days, you could cook yourself a dozen chicken breasts sous vide at the beginning of the week, and even on day 5, they're still going to be good and going to be safe. And it's already cooked, so you're just warming them up, like maybe putting them in the oven with sauce, or putting them on the grill in the backyard, and your protein's ready to go. It really cuts down the time for cooking at home rather than ordering a pizza all the time.
So what are the options people have for at home? What kind of devices are there available?
Well, the device that we ordered was actually be perfect for someone at home. The brand's called Innova, and it was only $150. You just need a vac machine or a food saver bag to pull the air out. I've also heard that you can get Ziploc bags, like heavy duty ones, and use a straw to remove the air and seal it.
Thanks very much, Joe.
You're welcome. Thank you.